I never thought I'd be the only one sitting alone, Emily Carter whispered to herself as she eased into the back row of the grand wedding hall, her hands clutching the small clutch bag she had barely managed to find under the stress of her busy week. The room shimmered with crystal chandeliers and polished oak floors, filled with laughter, clinking glasses, and the soft strains of a string quartet playing a romantic tune that only highlighted her sense of isolation. Emily had been invited by a distant coworker, someone she barely knew, and the idea of attending alone had seemed manageable in theory, but in practice, the sea of elegantly dressed guests all paired up and chatting animatedly made her stomach twist with nervous tension. Her heels clicked softly against the polished floor as she sought a seat in the corner, hoping no one would notice her. The air smelled faintly of roses and fresh pastries from the buffet tables, but the sweet aroma did little to ease her mind. She pulled in a shaky breath, trying to remember the pep talk she had given herself in the mirror that morning. That this was just a momentary experience, that she could handle it, that she didn't need anyone to validate her presence. Still, every glance in her direction felt like an unspoken judgment, and Emily felt herself shrinking under the weight of imagined scrutiny. She watched couples share inside jokes and friends exchange knowing smiles, each interaction a subtle reminder of her solitude. The soft hum of conversation and laughter seemed to surround her like an invisible barrier, isolating her in plain sight. Her fingers nervously drummed against her clutch, each tap syncing with the beat of the string quartet, amplifying her awareness of every small sound in the room. As the maid of honor gave a heartfelt toast, Emily felt a pang of longing for someone to share even a single smile with, for a comforting presence to break the quiet that enveloped her. She sipped her sparkling water, careful not to draw attention, and scanned the crowd for a friendly face, but everyone seemed absorbed in their own worlds. The polished floors reflected the warm glow of the chandeliers, casting a golden light over the elegantly decorated tables, yet Emily felt like a shadow on the sidelines. The idea of leaving early flickered in her mind, but a stubborn determination anchored her in place, reminding her that she deserved to be there as much as anyone else. Her mind wandered to her son, Jake, imagining how he would laugh if he saw her trying so hard not to fidget, and the thought brought a small fleeting smile to her lips. Just as she was resigning herself to a quiet, uneventful evening, a figure emerged across the room, catching her attention with an unexpected presence. Alexander Bennett, a tall, well-dressed man with an easy smile and a confident air, seemed to move through the crowd with purpose. Their eyes met briefly, and in that instant, something shifted in Emily's chest, a spark of curiosity and relief mingling with the lingering anxiety. She straightened her posture, suddenly aware that she was being noticed, and a tiny flicker of hope began to grow. For the first time since she arrived, Emily felt a gentle nudge of anticipation, the possibility that tonight might not be just another lonely evening, that someone else could change the course of this seemingly ordinary night in ways she could not yet imagine. Emily Carter took a deep breath as Alexander Bennett approached, his polished black shoes clicking softly against the marble floor, and for a moment the room seemed to shift around her, the chatter and music fading into the background as he stopped in front of her table. His tailored navy suit and crisp white shirt gave him an effortless elegance, but it was the warmth in his eyes and the easy smile that made Emily feel an unexpected sense of comfort. He leaned slightly, speaking in a calm, friendly tone that immediately put her at ease. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, gesturing toward the empty seat beside her. Emily blinked, surprised by the genuine kindness in his voice, and felt a flutter of relief that she was no longer entirely alone. She hesitated for a fraction of a second before nodding, shifting her purse to the side as he pulled the chair out for himself. As he sat down, Alexander extended his hand, and Emily shook it, noticing the firm but gentle grip, the subtle confidence it conveyed without being overbearing. The conversation began casually, with small talk about the venue, the decorations, and how beautiful the ceremony had been. Yet each word from Alexander carried a sense of attentiveness that made Emily feel truly seen for the first time that evening. She found herself relaxing, her shoulders loosening, and a small laugh escaped her lips when he made a lighthearted comment about the difficulty of catching the attention of a guest speaker in a crowded room. The atmosphere around her transformed as Alexander shared stories about his own family gatherings, painting vivid images of laughter, holiday traditions, and shared moments that resonated deeply with her own experiences as a mother. Emily realized that for the first time in hours, She was no longer an outsider in the room, that her presence mattered, and that someone genuinely wanted to share this moment with her. As they continued to talk, the tension she had carried melted away, replaced by a growing sense of connection, a feeling that perhaps this unexpected encounter was exactly what she needed to lift her spirits. Alexander listened with patience and curiosity, responding to her thoughts with thoughtful remarks that encouraged her to open up, and Emily felt a rare ease in expressing herself, as though she had known him far longer than a single evening. The soft lighting from the chandeliers reflected off the crystal glasses on the table, creating a warm, inviting glow around them, and Emily could not help but notice how natural it felt to sit there with someone who made her feel acknowledged and appreciated, without any pressure or expectation. Time seemed to stretch pleasantly, and she found herself sharing little stories about her son, the small triumphs and challenges of her week, and Alexander responded with sincere interest, occasionally nodding or offering an empathetic smile that made her feel understood. The gentle hum of background music and muted conversations from nearby tables faded into a comforting backdrop, reinforcing the sense that this small bubble of connection was a world apart from the bustling energy of the hall. Emily realized that moments like these, simple yet meaningful, could transform the way she viewed a place where she had initially felt invisible, and a warmth spread through her chest as she acknowledged the shift from isolation to companionship in the span of a few minutes. She caught herself smiling more freely, her eyes brightening, and a sense of anticipation replaced the nervous tension she had carried when she first arrived, a quiet acknowledgement that sometimes the most memorable experiences came from the people you least expected to meet. As the evening continued, Emily Carter felt a gentle shift in her perspective, a sense that the walls she had built around herself were quietly melting away. Alexander Bennett maintained an easy conversation, asking about her interests, her favorite books, and even her childhood memories with a curiosity that felt sincere and unhurried. She found herself sharing stories she rarely told anyone, the little victories and the small challenges of raising her son on her own, and each anecdote was met with thoughtful responses and occasional laughter that made the tension she had carried earlier dissipate completely. The string quartet played softly in the background, providing a soundtrack to their interaction that seemed almost perfectly timed, heightening the warmth of the moment without drawing attention from other guests. Emily noticed how effortlessly Alexander moved through the room, yet he chose to remain fully present with her, his attention focused and undivided, making her feel uniquely important despite the crowded hall around them. As they talked, she became aware of subtle gestures, like the way he lightly adjusted the napkin on the table to make more space for her, or how he nodded encouragingly as she recounted a humorous mishap from her day. These small details reinforced her comfort and gradually replaced the nervous energy she had felt upon arrival, with a relaxed and open demeanor. Emily glanced around the hall and saw groups of people laughing and sharing stories, yet she no longer felt isolated, because beside her was someone who had chosen to make her feel included and valued. A gentle breeze from the slightly open window brought in the scent of the evening garden, mingling with the aroma of fresh flowers on each table, creating an atmosphere that was serene and almost magical. Alexander mentioned a recent charity event he had attended, weaving in a story that highlighted his passion for helping others, and Emily found herself inspired by the kindness he demonstrated, admiring not only his confidence but also his genuine concern for people around him. Time seemed to stretch and bend as they shared this easy companionship, a conversation flowing naturally without awkward pauses, allowing both to laugh, reflect, and connect over shared human experiences. Emily felt a rising sense of gratitude for the unexpected turn her night had taken, recognizing that a simple act of attention and warmth could transform what she had initially feared would be a lonely evening into a memory she would cherish. She caught herself leaning slightly forward, fully engaged, eyes bright, heart lighter than it had been in months, and she realized that moments like these, rare and unplanned, often carried the power to change her outlook not only for the rest of the evening but for the days to come. Every smile, every thoughtful comment, every shared laugh built a quiet bridge of trust and connection between them, and Emily felt a comforting certainty that she was exactly where she was meant to be in that moment, fully present and fully appreciated. The soft glow of candlelight and the flickering reflections from the crystal chandeliers created a warm, inviting atmosphere around Emily Carter and Alexander Bennett as they continued their conversation, each story and shared laugh weaving a subtle yet undeniable connection between them. Emily found herself leaning in slightly, captivated not only by the charm of Alexander's presence but also by the effortless ease with which he made her feel comfortable, as though the crowded wedding hall and all of its social expectations had faded into the background. They talked about favorite travel destinations, the simple joys of a quiet Sunday morning, and even the little surprises that life had thrown their way, each topic flowing naturally from one to the next, building an intimacy of understanding that felt rare and precious. Emily noticed the way Alexander listened attentively, eyes bright and fully focused, nodding thoughtfully and offering insights that reflected both intelligence and genuine empathy. His laughter, warm and genuine, mingled with hers, creating a rhythm that made the room feel less intimidating and more like a private bubble just for them. The subtle background hum of the wedding band and the distant clatter of cutlery became a comforting soundtrack, a gentle reminder of the lively celebration unfolding around them without intruding on their shared space. Emily found herself recounting stories about her son, Jake, and his mischievous antics at school, feeling a lightness in sharing these personal moments that she had not expected to experience with someone she had met only moments before. Alexander responded with curiosity and thoughtful remarks, offering advice and encouragement where appropriate, yet never in a way that felt intrusive, maintaining a delicate balance that allowed Emily to feel seen and valued. The conversation drifted to their childhood memories, favorite family traditions, and the lessons they had learned along the way, each revelation deepening the sense of mutual respect and understanding. Emily noticed that as the night wore on, the nervous tension and self-consciousness that had weighed heavily upon her when she first arrived had been replaced by a sense of ease, a quiet joy in simply being present and engaging with another human being who genuinely cared to listen. The glow from the candles flickered across the polished table, casting a golden light that seemed to mirror the warmth spreading through her chest, a subtle reminder that connection and kindness could arrive unexpectedly, transforming what might have been a lonely evening into something memorable and uplifting. Emily felt gratitude swelling quietly inside her, a recognition of the simple yet profound impact of thoughtful attention and presence, and she smiled more freely, feeling lighter and more energized, savoring the rare pleasure of shared laughter, understanding, and the gentle unfolding of a promising connection that felt both comforting and invigorating in equal measure. In that moment, surrounded by the elegance and celebration of the wedding hall, Emily realized that a single gesture of companionship could shift an entire experience, turning solitude into warmth and hesitation into confidence, leaving her with a quiet, enduring sense of hope and happiness as the evening continued to unfold around them. As the night progressed, Emily Carter and Alexander Bennett found themselves gradually moving closer to the dance floor, the gentle rhythm of the live band inviting them into a shared moment of lighthearted enjoyment. Emily hesitated for a split second, glancing down at her shoes and then back at Alexander, unsure if she had the courage to join in, but his reassuring smile and subtle nod encouraged her to step forward. As they took their first steps onto the polished floor, Emily felt a rush of exhilaration, the earlier anxiety melting away as laughter bubbled up naturally between them. The soft lighting from the chandeliers highlighted the movement around them, but in that moment, the crowd seemed to blur into the background, leaving only the two of them, connected by a shared experience that felt both spontaneous and comforting. Alexander guided her with gentle confidence, matching her pace and ensuring each step felt secure, allowing Emily to relax completely and enjoy the simple pleasure of dancing without self-consciousness. Their conversation continued effortlessly, now punctuated by bursts of laughter and light-hearted remarks about the music and the other dancers, making Emily feel an unprecedented sense of inclusion and joy. She realized how rare it was to encounter someone who could make her feel seen and valued in such a short time, and the warmth of this realization spread through her, brightening her mood and easing the tension she had carried all evening. The sparkle of the crystal chandeliers reflected off Alexander's cufflinks and the subtle shimmer of Emily's dress, creating a visual harmony that mirrored the growing connection between them. Emily found herself sharing small jokes about her childhood dance lessons, laughing at the memories of awkward twirls and missteps, and Alexander responded with genuine amusement and encouraging words, making her feel confident and appreciated. The music shifted to a slower, more melodic tune, and they adjusted their movements accordingly, moving in a gentle rhythm that allowed for quiet conversation alongside the physical closeness of the dance. Emily noticed how attentive Alexander remained, adjusting his pace slightly to match hers, and she felt a profound sense of trust building in the simplicity of the moment. Around them, the room remained alive with celebration, yet the atmosphere between them was intimate, grounded in mutual respect and a shared appreciation for the now rather than any external expectations. Emily felt a quiet thrill at the realization that her night had transformed completely, from an anxious anticipation of solitude to an unexpected evening filled with connection, laughter, and warmth. Each twirl, each shared smile, and each word exchange solidified her sense of comfort and belonging, and as the song continued, she felt a renewed sense of optimism and delight, savoring every second of a night that had begun with uncertainty and was now unfolding into a cherished memory she would carry with her long after the final notes of music faded. After the last song ended, Emily Carter and Alexander Bennett returned to their table, the soft clinking of glasses and muted conversations surrounding them like a gentle backdrop as they settled into their seats with smiles still lingering from the dance. Emily felt a sense of lightness she had not experienced in months, her earlier anxieties replaced by a comforting warmth that seemed to radiate from the simple presence of someone who genuinely cared to engage with her. They spoke quietly, sharing impressions of the wedding, commenting on the beauty of the flowers, the elegance of the bridesmaids' dresses, and the joyful expressions of the newlyweds, each detail sparking new conversation and laughter. Alexander leaned forward slightly, listening intently as Emily recounted small, humorous stories about her son Jake, his adventurous personality and clever little jokes bringing her eyes to sparkle with pride and amusement. She found herself relaxing further, realizing that this interaction had become effortless, a natural exchange that allowed her to enjoy the evening fully without the tension she had carried earlier. The room itself seemed to shimmer with celebration, yet a private bubble had formed around their table, a sense of intimacy born from mutual respect and genuine connection, rather than the surrounding festivities. Emily noticed the subtle gestures Alexander made, from offering her a sip of sparkling water to adjusting the angle of the chair to give her more space, small acts that conveyed thoughtfulness and consideration without intruding or drawing attention. They discussed favorite books, memorable family traditions, and even lighthearted moments from past holidays, each topic deepening the bond and allowing Emily to see another side of Alexander beyond his confident exterior, revealing kindness, humor, and a patient understanding that made her feel truly valued. As dessert was served, Emily laughed at a small mishap with a slice of cake, and Alexander joined in with genuine amusement, creating a shared memory that felt both spontaneous and meaningful. She marveled at how quickly the evening had transformed from an experience she had dreaded into a night filled with laughter, warmth, and a sense of belonging, recognizing that her connection with Alexander had turned an ordinary social event into something unforgettable. The soft lighting of the hall reflected in her eyes and in Alexander's attentive expression, a visual reminder of the comfort and joy growing quietly between them. Emily felt a surge of gratitude for this unexpected companionship, the kind that could make a person feel seen and appreciated, in a way that resonated deeply. Every glance, every exchange, every gentle laugh built a sense of mutual respect and understanding, reinforcing that the night had taken a turn she had not anticipated, but would remember fondly. As the evening wound on, Emily's heart felt lighter, her confidence renewed, and she savored the rare and unexpected delight of sharing time with someone who had transformed her perspective on what a simple evening could become, leaving her with a lingering sense of joy and anticipation for the moments yet to unfold. As the reception began to wind down, Emily Carter noticed the subtle shift in energy around the hall, guests beginning to gather their belongings and exchange final congratulations, yet she felt no rush to leave, content to linger in the comfortable presence of Alexander Bennett. The soft lighting created a golden haze across the polished floor, and the faint strains of the string quartet still playing in the corner provided a soothing backdrop that allowed conversation to continue without interruption. Emily felt a growing sense of trust and ease as they discussed future plans in a lighthearted, imaginative way, sharing dreams of weekend getaways, favorite local spots, and even humorous reflections on past family vacations, each story deepening the sense of camaraderie and mutual understanding. Alexander listened with focused attention, occasionally nodding with encouragement, his expressions mirroring genuine interest and delight in her words, which made Emily feel increasingly confident in expressing her thoughts and feelings. They shared quiet laughter over minor misadventures and subtle observations about the wedding, creating an easy rhythm that felt both natural and comforting, reinforcing the connection that had blossomed throughout the evening. Emily reflected on how rare it was to encounter someone who could make her feel completely at ease, someone whose presence transformed anxiety into joy and uncertainty into warmth. She noticed small gestures, like Alexander subtly adjusting his seating to ensure she had ample space, and offering her a gentle smile whenever she spoke, which conveyed attentiveness without any pressure or expectation. The gentle hum of conversations around them was distant, almost like a soft cocoon shielding their interaction from the bustle of the remaining guests, allowing them to remain focused on each other and the unique connection that had developed over the course of the night. Emily felt a lightness in her chest, a quiet gratitude for the simple but meaningful interaction that had shifted her perspective on the evening, transforming what might have been an uncomfortable solo experience into a memory of laughter, companionship, and unexpected warmth. The chandelier's reflections glimmered in her eyes as she spoke about her son Jake and the small joys of her daily life, and Alexander responded with sincere empathy and gentle humor, creating a mutual space of understanding that made the remaining hours of the reception feel both intimate and memorable. Each exchanged story and shared smile reinforced a sense of companionship and support, and Emily recognized that the evening had gifted her more than she had anticipated. A sense of being truly seen and appreciated in a world that often overlooked the quiet moments of ordinary life. As they continued to converse, the soft background music, the laughter from nearby tables, and the subtle rustle of guests preparing to depart all blended into a harmonious atmosphere, allowing Emily to savor the rare pleasure of a night that had transformed from anxious solitude to genuine connection, leaving her with a lasting impression of warmth, kindness, and unexpected joy. As the evening grew later, the energy in the wedding hall softened into a gentle hum of farewells and lingering conversations, and Emily Carter found herself feeling a comforting sense of contentment as she remained seated with Alexander Bennett. The golden glow of the chandeliers reflected in the crystal glasses on the table, casting delicate patterns across the polished surface, and the faint strains of the string quartet playing in the background added a serene soundtrack to their continued conversation. Emily felt an unexpected ease in sharing thoughts about her personal aspirations and small dreams, from weekend adventures with her son Jake to the books she had been meaning to read, and Alexander listened attentively, offering thoughtful comments and lighthearted anecdotes of his own experiences that made her smile and laugh more freely than she had in months. The earlier tension and self-consciousness that had accompanied her entrance into the hall had completely faded, replaced by a quiet warmth and a sense of belonging, a rare comfort that came from genuine attention and shared engagement. Alexander's subtle gestures, such as offering her a sip of water or adjusting the chair slightly to give her more space, conveyed thoughtfulness and respect, reinforcing Emily's growing sense of ease. They discussed the ceremony itself, recalling touching moments and amusing interactions among the guests, each story shared adding a layer of connection and intimacy that made the remainder of the evening feel personal and meaningful. Emily noticed how natural it was to sit in his presence, the conversation flowing effortlessly without pauses or awkwardness, allowing both of them to be fully present and engaged in each other's company. The gentle background music, the soft laughter from neighboring tables, and the subdued sounds of guests preparing to leave blended together into a harmonious backdrop, creating a sense of calm and private connection amid the fading celebration. Emily felt a quiet gratitude for the simple pleasure of conversation and companionship, recognizing how a thoughtful presence could transform a solitary evening into an unexpectedly uplifting experience. Each exchange, each laugh, and each shared observation strengthened the bond forming between them, and Emily felt a deepened sense of comfort and appreciation, realizing that the evening had become far more memorable than she had anticipated. As the minutes passed, she continued to enjoy the easy rapport, the attentive listening, and the gentle humor that Alexander brought into the conversation, savoring the way the interaction lifted her spirits and created a shared space of warmth and mutual understanding. In that softly lit hall, surrounded by the subtle energy of the remaining guests and the fading music, Emily experienced a profound sense of happiness and connection, a quiet affirmation that meaningful interactions could arrive in the most unexpected moments, leaving her with a lasting memory of kindness, engagement, and the gentle joy of being truly seen. As the final moments of the wedding reception approached, Emily Carter and Alexander Bennett lingered at their table, savoring the calm and the quiet sense of fulfillment that had grown steadily. Throughout the evening, the remaining guests moved about with gentle smiles, exchanging last words and hugs, The hall bathed in a soft golden glow that reflected off the crystal chandeliers and mirrored walls, giving the space an almost magical ambience. Emily felt a profound sense of gratitude for the way the night had unfolded, her earlier worries and anxieties replaced by a lighthearted contentment and a genuine warmth in her chest that she had not anticipated. Alexander continued to engage her with thoughtful conversation, asking about her son Jake, her favorite hobbies, and the small, meaningful moments of her daily life. Each question delivered with a sincere curiosity that made her feel deeply seen and appreciated. They shared reflections on the ceremony, the smiles and laughter of the bride and groom, and even amusing anecdotes from the other guests, all of which contributed to a feeling of shared connection and mutual enjoyment. Emily noticed the subtle ways Alexander made her feel comfortable, from the gentle attentiveness in his gestures to the calm confidence in his voice, creating an atmosphere that was both inviting and reassuring. She laughed freely at his light-hearted jokes and commented on little details of the evening that had caught her attention, enjoying the way their dialogue flowed effortlessly without pause or tension. The string quartet played a soft final piece, their melody weaving seamlessly into the background as Emily and Alexander spoke, their conversation blending with the gentle hum of the remaining guests preparing to depart, creating a serene and harmonious environment that felt almost detached from the bustle of the earlier festivities. Emily reflected on how unexpectedly the night had transformed, from an initial sense of isolation and uncertainty, to a series of interactions filled with laughter, attention, and thoughtful engagement that had left her feeling both joyful and valued. The golden light illuminated her expression, softening the features that had been tense at the start of the evening, and she found herself smiling genuinely, a quiet acknowledgement of the rare and meaningful connection she had experienced. Alexander responded with warmth, a reassuring smile that mirrored her own, and Emily felt a comforting sense of closure as the reception drew to its natural conclusion. The combination of shared stories, gentle laughter, attentive listening, and the peaceful ambience of the hall left her with a lingering sense of happiness and fulfillment, a reminder that even a single evening could transform expectations and create memories that would endure well beyond the closing of the last song. In those final moments, Emily felt a profound sense of contentment, the kind that came from being truly seen and appreciated, carrying with her the quiet joy of connection, warmth, and the promise of future possibilities.